So, a couple of announcements right off the start. First off, as you can see, you have a formative assessment tomorrow. Okay? That formative assessment will have vectors and navigation vectors on it. Okay? Then we've moved the test date back one day, so that's allowing us to have an extra day of we had basically what we said is we had 2 days before spring break where Rose wasn't going to be here, so like can't really do much because we can't do stuff when Rose isn't here. But we were like, why do we even bother trying to teach something on those 2 days? Because we're going to have to reteach it after spring break anyways. So we pushed the test back a day, which gave us another day to review, which I think you need, and then we can do an activity on that Friday. That's a surprise for you right now. Yep. Yes, Foxy, that means that the homework, salmon homework packet, green formative corrections, and your pink formative corrections. Tomorrow's formative is pink. Okay? So those are all due on that Thursday also. Okay? On top of all of that, tomorrow is one of my favorite days of the year. Okay? Because it's what? It's Pi Day tomorrow. So we are offering you a one-time, tomorrow-only extra credit opportunity. Okay? What?
Is it if we bring in a pie?
If you bring in a pie, we'll give you extra credit. Now, that is subjective to the following criteria. Quality is the first one on there. Second one is creativity. Quantity is on there, meaning if you just bring me like one of those little mini pie type things, that's not quality or quantity. Taste is subject to your teacher tomorrow. And other is subject to whether or not, like if you bring me, I'm going to make one up here because it wasn't discussed in our meeting, a boysenberry pie. I'm going to take points off because nobody likes boysenberries, especially in pies. Okay? Okay? So so we're going on a maximum. So it's out of 5, or 5 is the maximum. Okay? We'll give you an extra point if it is your teacher tomorrow's favorite pie. Okay? My lips are sealed. Yep. I know all three. I know all three of ours. Yes, we actually talked about it in our meeting on Monday. Yes, we talked about which pie would be our +1. Okay, and there was another +1 too. I forget what the other +1 was. Oh, if it was homemade. Okay. Yeah, maximum of 2 for a store-bought pie, regardless of creativity, quantity, etc. Okay? So more points for homemade because you're obviously putting in more work.
So how much can you get for a homemade pie? 4?
Maximum of 6. I think 6 is the max.
Okay.
If you match.
And that's if you match your teacher.
And
I know them
all.
I know them all.
You bring in like multiple pies. But if I just made a
You get a maximum. No, if you bring in 4 pies tomorrow, maximum points you would get would be, if they're all store bought, it would be 2. If they're all homemade pies, like you can't, like you don't get 5 for each pie. Yeah.
that would have been.
Yeah. Then you get 5 extra credit points, hopefully, provided one of them is your teacher. It's my favorite kind. You have me tomorrow, right? Yeah. You want to gaze into my eyes and try and ascertain.
I have no idea. Put that out.
My grandparents gave me a pie cookbook.
No, the pot, we spent, so on Monday, we spent a good 5 to 10 minutes talking about pies, and then we all got hungry. So,
I like how this all.
well, all of this, yeah. Yeah. See, because in the last class, I recorded the last class too, but I didn't like where I talked about it, because I forgot to talk about it here. And so I talked about it in the middle, but here now I can talk about it here. We are in your note packet today. Should be the last sheet in your note packet. You should, if you did not watch the multiple forces phenomenal video that I put out there this weekend when I didn't have a voice, that's on you. You need to get that done. Okay? Alright? So, I'm going to give you a scenario that actually, without planning, happened yesterday on the fence line between Linsmeyer Farms and Brown Star Farms. That's my neighbor. Okay? Right? And they pulled out a stump yesterday on the line. Now they didn't use 2 tractors, they just used an excavator and just dug it, just scooped it right out and popped it out. But we could have done it this way. Okay? So a farmer wishes to remove a stump from a field by pulling it out with his tractor. Having removed many stumps before, he estimates that he will need 6 tons or 12,000 pounds of force to pull the stump out. However, his tractor is only capable of pulling with a force of 7,000 pounds, so he asks his neighbor to help. At least in my neighborhood, we help each other. When a friend asks for help, you help. You stop what you're doing, and you will help. His neighbor's tractor can pull with a force of 5,500 pounds. They attach the 2 tractors with a 40-degree angle between the 2 forces. Assuming the farmer's estimate of a needed 6-ton force is correct, will the farmer be successful in pulling the stump? Okay? So there is the problem that I have laid out in front of you. What do you think we need to do? Reminding ourselves that we are in the vector unit. How many vectors should we do? 2, 1 for each tractor, right? Okay. What are we going to do with said vectors? And the other, because the tractors are going to be working together to pull this stump out. Correct? Okay. All right. So let's do that. Let's make a vector for T1 for the first tractor. So it's got a force of 7,000. What angle do you want to go with for tractor 1? We can go with 0. We could go with 90. We could go with anything we wanted to, correct? You could pick any angle there. Just so you know, and we'll talk about that momentarily. I'm going to go with 0, just because it's the easiest one. I would go with 0, 90, 180, or 270. That's going to give me a vector of 7,000, comma 0. Agree? Now we need to come up with vector T2. T2 has a magnitude of 5,500. Oops, I put degrees there. What are my 2 options for angles there? $40 is one option. What is the other option? 320 degrees. As long as there's a 40-degree gap between your 2 angles, you can pick anything. So Foxy, you had said 90 before, so you would have to go with either 130 or 50 for this one. Okay? Those would be your 2 options there. Okay? But as long as there's a 40-degree gap betwixt those two angles, it's all right with me. I have to go to the cookie. I'm put on the sheets. So we have 7,000. We have 0. We have 55. Oops, that's not 55. That's 500. 5,500 cosines of 40 degrees. We want that as H. We want 5500 sines of 40 degrees. We want that as our I. So I get vectors here of that. Concur? You said we're going to add these two vectors together to get our resultant. I get that for my resultant vector. Yes? Okay. What do we need to do with that, or what do we need to find from that? We need to find the magnitude of that. And if it's more than 12,000, the stump comes out. If it's less than 12,000, people get mad. Okay? What do we got for a magnitude of vector T1 plus T2? Stump out, stump in. Stump in, stump does not get pulled out. Okay? Now let's use some logic here. Let's use Fermat logic. Because the stump won. I mean, one thing that we can do to get that stump out would be a bigger tractor. That's what, in my neighborhood, that's what would happen. We will get a bigger tractor. Okay? Okay? How would I change the angle? Bigger or smaller? Smaller angle, so the tractors are more working. Because together, the two tractors should have 12,500 pounds of force pulling, if they're pulling in unison. Right? Okay? So we have to shrink that angle a little bit more. The problem with shrinking that angle then is now you're driving two tractors right next to one another, different chain links have people. Or get a bigger tractor. Or burn it, or maybe go find something else that might, go boom. Okay. Okay. What's wrong? Well, see, we just go get an excavator, and then we just take the, one of those big things with the arm, and then you just scoop down, you go underneath it, and you pop it off, and it pops right up. That's literally what happened yesterday. Guy had an excavator. He just went out. He just kept driving the excavator along the fence line, and he just kept pulling some stuff. Yep. Okay. You now try Number
This one and 1/7.
because it's blowing from a bearing of 20 degrees. No,
But it's 20 past 20.
for a bearing.
Is it a bearing?
No, we need a trig angle for it. So it's 20 degrees short of. So it's 20 degrees short of. So the 20 is down here then.
Right.
So it's 20 degrees short of 270.
Oh, so we're not mixing bearings. Okay, I get it.
You tell yourself.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, for sure. No, it wasn't even weighted. But do you know that because it's new, or do you know that because it's site?
I get that the plane is actually flying at 481.8 miles per hour, and it's flying on a bearing angle of 171.5 degrees, or south 8.5 degrees. Yes, ma'am.
How'd you get this out?
The south and east one. So my reference angle is there marked, okay? So then
So it's going
this one would be the other one,
Oh, because you do it
off of the south. Yep,
So then you just subtract that 81.
from 90. Now, on a test or on a formative, let's say formative this week, test next week, whatever the problem is given in, that's how we expect the problem answer to be. So in this particular case, it was given in bearing angles, so we would want the 171.5. If this were given in north blank degrees east or west, then we would want it in that second floor. Okay. Questions on that one? Try number 3.
Oh, that's a good.
I'll make him a pie if he tells us to talk. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, so I'm wrong.
I can see it. Scary.
I know what I'm doing. I didn't know what it was.
I'll give it to you both. Okay. No, she is not.
Minnesota. Northern Minnesota.
Northern, she's an hour and a half northwest of Duluth.
So it's really, it wins this app. That means she's. You're from.
Okay. He, by the way, has been, he has not been sworn to secrecy, but he has been like, asking questions of me all day, trying to find spellings, because he's got spelling tomorrow. So. Yeah.
God, I hate this. Because this is just like complete luck. Like,
Katie.
oh my god. What are you?
I'm helping her.
I think I have her number.
I feel like people's favorite pies aren't yours could be something odd because
I can find her number. I don't think I have it, but I can find it. Use your connections. Use your connections.
My cousin's currently in South Carolina, so.
I got those two. Yep.
How did you do the A part?
Because it's headed due west.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
So that means it's 500 out to the that way.
but why
To
did
the
you
left.
choose like this?
Because the trig angle is 180 degrees, and I just did that math in my head. Because the cosine at 180 degrees is -1. That's 500 is negative 500.
Yeah,
Sine at 180 degrees is 0 times 500 is 0.
so technically I was on the right page.
You are, yeah, you are on the right page because you are on that page that the problem was printed on.
Oh,
Yes. Okay. Remaining time is yours to start working on salmon colored packets and or fixing green formants.